Chicago women explore identity and politics through art.
We'll show you a new Evanston restaurant rolling in the dough.
And NNN sits down with former Northwestern linebacker Anthony Walker to talk about his future in the NFL.
All those stories and more
coming up on the Northwestern News Report. It's your news right now. Good evening and welcome to the Northwestern News Report. I'm Alex Letterman.
And I'm Anika Hennigert. Thanks for joining us.
Northwestern is part of a petition opposing President Donald Trump's travel restrictions from 6 majority Muslim countries. NU joined 30 other universities in filing a petition with the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. The brief says that the order threatens the institution's, quote, interest in ensuring that individuals from around the globe can continue to enter the U.S. and share their skills and unique perspectives. Earlier this year, Northwestern joined a different opposition to Trump's first executive order banning immigration from that same region. That executive order caused protests at airports around the United States after passengers coming from those countries were detained at airports upon arrival. The first order was ruled unconstitutional by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. University Vice President and Counsel Philip Harris told the Daily Northwestern that NU joined the brief because it would limit the university's ability to recruit internationally. University President Morton Shapiro said, quote, we are not just sitting and waiting for Washington to dictate things that are going to affect our community. We are actively involved in lobbying to make sure that we are not adversely affected. Judges heard the oral argument over the revised executive order on Monday. We will keep you updated as this process continues. And speaking of President Trump, the White House announced Trump has fired FBI Director James Comey, according to the Associated Press.
This announcement comes after the FBI corrected Comey's testimony that, quote, hundreds and thousands of Hillary Clinton's emails, some including classified information, were forwarded to her aide's husband, former Congressman Anthony Weiner's laptop.
For more on this breaking news, tune into Politicat right after the Northwestern News Report.
Evanston businesses have been popping up or closing down more than usual this year. NNN's Michelle Beck is live on Sherman Avenue with more. Michelle?
Anika, students have been lining up for fresh cookies right here on Sherman Ave ever since Insomnia Cookies opened its doors 4 days ago. While business is certainly booming, many other restaurants around Evanston recently closed. Just across the street from me, Kosi, a fast casual restaurant known for its sandwiches and flatbreads, closed its Evanston location a few weeks ago. The parent company was forced to close all of its branches worldwide after filing for bankruptcy. Other businesses like Bistro Bordeaux and Thai Sukti closed their doors this year, along with the Life is Good store and Visualize Eye Care. But when one door closes, another opens. According to a report in the Daily Northwestern, Annie Coakley, executive director of downtown Evanston, says the city has seen an uptick in food establishments. She says this is because people are starting to eat out more than ever. Marketing manager Joshua Johnson says he thinks Insomnia Cookies is perfect for a college campus like Northwestern.
There's been so many requests to open up a store in Evanston, and we were just searching and we found this spot downtown. Our hours kind of link up with the college student schedule, so it's perfect for if you are studying late night and you need a warm cookie, we can always deliver until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Insomnia Cookies has 4 other Chicago area locations, but none of them deliver to Northwestern's campus. The store is one of 3 late-night eateries in town. And what's better than milk and cookies? Milk and cookie delivery until 3 a.m. If Evanston residents stick to the trend of eating out more, it's likely Insomnia Cookies won't be closing anytime soon. Back to you, Anika.
Thanks, Michelle. Be sure to visit nnn.org for our coverage of new Evanston restaurants like Sushi Burrito and Aloha Poke.
DePaul freshman Bushra Amiwala announced in a Facebook post in March that she will enter the race for Cook County Commissioner. NNN's Meredith Sottenfeld sat down with the 19-year-old to learn more about her passion for local politics.
You're a freshman at DePaul University in Chicago, and you're running for Cook County Commissioner. Why did you decide to enter this race?
So there were a lot of things that really influenced my decision. The first thing that really started all of this was around in February. I was talking to some of the people I worked with on the post-Senate campaign I worked with, and they were like, we need more young women involved in politics, specifically Muslim women. Do you know anyone? What do you think about that? And I was sort of sitting there and I was like, well, what if I became that person? So that's what started just the idea of it. And I was always super involved, and engaged within the community and community work. And a lot of the things that I heard people say / complain about was, our voices aren't being heard. No one's listening to us. Those people up there, they don't understand what we're going through. I learned that change at the local level is where it all begins. And local politics is really they have a lot of power, but they also are the most shielded part of our government. No one really knows what's going on in there, and there's a lack of transparency going on. So I was researching different types of local government positions, and the ones that people focus on are governor or mayor and things like that. But no one really focuses on what goes on with Cook County Board. We have there are 17 elected officials on there, each representing their respective district. And if you tell someone, you're like, hey, do you know what the position of Cook County Commissioner is? A lot of people had no idea what I was talking about. So there's that. I feel I've drawn attention to there's this position that exists, and they have these meetings and they decide a yearly budget of close to $5 billion, but that's your money that benefits you, but you're not aware of what's happening. So the lack of transparency was something that really bothered me, and I decided that as a young person, I can bring forth, I'm an accessible person who's active on social media, who can really bring forth change, I believe, on that level.
And you're only 19 years old. You're so young. Have you gotten any criticism for deciding to enter the race?
I've seen things around that maybe I'm too young or inexperienced or things like that, but in my defense, I believe that I've been more engaged and active within the community, being able to listen to what people say and have to do than some of the people that are in office, not just on Cook County Board, but in general. That's really where it all stems from. That's the experience that you need in politics that a lot of politicians don't have. Being able to listen, being able to empathize with people and their sorrows, their worries, instead of making harsh decisions on their behalf that affect them directly.
Amiwala will take on incumbent Larry Suffredin in the 2018 election. Suffredin is 69 years old and has held the Cook County Commissioner seat since 2002. For the full interview with Amiwala, visit nntv.org. And for more Chicago news, be sure to tune in to NNN's annual Chicago show on May 23rd at 7 p.m. Central.
And coming up, we'll meet some artists in Chicago who have a message for President Trump.
I'm Tyra Levy, and coming up, I'll tell you just how warm your week will be in your 5-day weather forecast.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Go Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Good evening, I'm Tyra Alebi, here with your 5-day weather forecast. Let's take a look at the gorgeous week ahead. Tomorrow, don't forget those sweaters and those umbrellas, because it will be a little chilly with a chance for showers. Expect a high of 57 and a low of 46. On Thursday, it will start heating up. We are expecting a sunny day with a high of 68 degrees and a low of 54 degrees. Friday will be a perfect day for a walk by the lake. We're expecting clear, sunny skies with a high of 72 and a low of 58. Expect another sunny day on Saturday with a high of 71 and a low of 56. We'll have a stormy Mother's Day this year. On Sunday, expect scattered storms with a high of 68 and a low of 54. This has been Tyra Alebi with your 5-day weather forecast.
Nearly 400 artists featured their work in a show on Chicago's West Side Friday evening. All of the artists were women with a message. NNN's Andrew America joins us now from Studio B with more. Andrew?
That's right, Anika. We're now 109 days into Donald Trump's presidency, and since taking office, the president hasn't shied away from controversy. Some artists in Chicago are hanging on to one controversial statement in particular he made back in October.
It's offensive. It's offensive.
Susan Messer McBride was one of millions watching Donald Trump call Hillary Clinton a nasty woman during the third presidential debate in October.
She is a woman of history. She's a scholar. She's a leader. She's put her time in, and she has a voice. And he didn't want to hear her voice, and it was offensive.
Now, 6 months later, nasty woman means something very different to these women.
Yeah, we're nasty women. Like, we want to be exactly what you don't want us to be. Like, that sounds great.
That's why Moonlight Studios on Chicago's West Side transformed into Nasty Women Art Chicago Friday night, featuring food, drinks, performances, and art from nasty women of all ages, like Megan O'Neill. Tell me your age.
I am 16.
Okay, so you're still in high school?
Yeah.
Megan, who isn't even old enough to vote, cross-stitched a piece that reads, "Smash the patriarchy," for the show.
I just thought it was really cool, empowering, like, yeah, smash the patriarchy, like, we've got this, we're strong. And I thought it was a good balance with the flowers and the traditional, like, old lady thing of sewing. I thought together they made kind of a statement.
Art like Megan's lined the walls of 3 rooms in Moonlight Studios where an estimated 1,700 people walked through the doors Friday night. Everything was for sale, but
They are not being paid for their submissions. They are not receiving money for any of it.
instead, all profits went to Planned Parenthood of Illinois.
I mean, after yesterday, we're funding Planned Parenthood. January was so huge with so many protests and so many gatherings, and it's so hard to keep that momentum. And I think events like this, they're a different kind of protest. It's a way for artists who maybe aren't the kind of people to go out to a march to get together and say, this is what I do best, and this is how I can bring that to the team.
In total, the event raised $30,372 for Planned Parenthood of Illinois, thanks to some nasty women. From Studio B, I'm Andrew America, Northwestern News Report.
Thanks, Andrew. We'll have a link to more information on Nasty Women Art Chicago on our website at nnnTV.org.
A major economic development in the fight against Alzheimer's disease. That's next in Money Minute.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Earlier this year, the White House said it would slash funding to the National Institutes of Health, or the NIH. by nearly 20% over the next 8 years. The NIH is the primary agency of the U.S. government responsible for biomedical and public health research. Well, in a surprising move last week, Congress elected to instead increase funding to the NIH. That included an unprecedented $400 million increase for Alzheimer's research for fiscal year 2017. Traditionally, funding for Alzheimer's research has been much lower than funding for research into other diseases like cancer. In 2016, the NIH's budget for Alzheimer's research was just over $900 million. That's compared to $5.6 billion for cancer research. Right now, Alzheimer's is the only top 10 deadly disease in the U.S. that does not have a cure, and the number of people living with the disease is expected to almost triple by 2050. The NIH continues to call for more funding, saying the disease could potentially bankrupt the nation. The health and long-term care costs for Alzheimer's was just over $250 billion back in 2017. The NIH says that number is expected to soar to $500 billion by 2020. For every $100 that goes into research, we pay $16,000 in care for the disease. Experts say that trend is simply unsustainable. Meanwhile, the NIH hopes the increased spending on research for the disease will lead to a cure by the end of the decade. With Money Minute, I'm Matt Stunn.
Mayfest announced MGMT will headline Northwestern's Dillo Day on May 20th. The all-day concert festival is an annual tradition hosted on the Lakeville. Anika, are you a fan of MGMT?
Of course, I listen to MGMT when I run. They're actually releasing a new album this summer, and this is their first live appearance since 2015. Are you excited?
How could I not be? This is a throwback to my early high school days. You know, MGMT's the first band to headline Dillo Day since Walk the Moon back in 2013. Mayfest also just announced that rapper Dram will be the daytime headliner for the concert.
And of course, more performers will be announced as the festival gets closer.
We wanted to know what you thought about MGMT headlining Dillo Day, so we asked you in this week's edition of Rock Talk.
Hello, Northwestern. I'm Caitlin Boudreau, and I'm here at The Rock to talk about this year's Dillo headliner. Can you name any songs by MGMT?
Yeah, Electric Feel, Kids, Time to Pretend.
Kids, Time to Pretend, Electric Feel.
Kids. Electric Feel.
Kids.
Electric Feel.
Kids and Time to Pretend.
Is that it?
There's one other one, and I can't think of it, just Kids.
Is there anyone you would rather see besides MGMT?
Somebody more relevant?
You know, honestly, for me, Dillo's less about, who the artists are. I'm going to have a good time no matter what.
If you have an idea for a future Rock Talk topic, tweet at us at @NNN_news.
It's postseason for Wildcat lacrosse. We'll see how they did after the break.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Go Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Welcome back. We're joined now by Sports Night's Jenny Haskell. Jenny, how'd the Cats do this weekend?
They did pretty well. Overall, it was a pretty good weekend in the Northwestern sports world. The baseball team came out of West Lafayette with a series win against Purdue. The softball team also won their last series of their regular season against Iowa and will begin postseason play later this week. But the biggest story of the week goes to the lacrosse team, who started their postseason slate with the Big Ten tournament. Let's check out the highlights. First up, the number 15 ranked Wildcats battled number 5 ranked Penn State for a spot in the tournament final. Christina Esposito, doing what she normally does, dukes out a defender and underhands it into the back of the net to give the Cats a 6-5 lead. With just 3 minutes left in the half, Liza Elder scores off of a free position shot to give the Cats a 7-6 lead going into halftime. After a lengthy rain delay, the scoring continued as Maggie Gallagher gets a nice assist from teammate Kristen Naff and puts it past the keeper to tie the game at 9. With just under a minute to go, freshman Megan Kinna scored the game-winning goal for the Wildcats. The game finished with a score of 12-11. The win would put them in the final to play the number 1 ranked Maryland Terrapins. Northwestern faced off against the Terrapins last week, falling 18-9. The Wildcats would get a shot at a rematch of last week's game, as well as a rematch of the 2016 Big Ten tournament final. Let's see how it panned out. Maryland's offense was in full throttle as they opened up the game on a 4-0 run before Nicole Beardsley got one on the board for the Cats with 15 minutes to go in the first half. The second half was much of the same as Maryland's attack deemed too much for the Cats' defense. Caroline Steele of the Terrapins put one past keeper Mallory Weiss to go up 11-4. The Wildcats refused to go down without a fight as Sheila Nesselbush charged at the Terrapins' defense and shoots it past the keeper. However, the Maryland attack would prove to be too much for the Cats this time as Jen Giles scores the last goal of the game and the Terrapins would win it 14-6. Despite the loss, Northwestern earned an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament and will face Albany in the first round this Friday. The franchise, otherwise known as former Northwestern linebacker Anthony Walker, heard his name called by the Indianapolis Colts in the 2017 NFL Draft. Olivia Reiner sat down with Walker to talk about what draft day was like and what he expects out of his new franchise.
It's my absolute pleasure to welcome in a very special guest to the show today, Mr. Anthony Walker Jr., former Northwestern linebacker and Colts draftee. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. Just happy to be here.
Great. So how long have you been back on campus? I'm sure it's been a pretty whirlwind weekend.
It was, and then back to reality on Monday. Class got canceled Monday, but class on Wednesday. So got back Monday, right back to writing the paper and reading for class.
What kind of contact did you have with the Colts? Was this sort of expected, a surprise?
Not really. I actually only talked to him at the combine, and we had an official meeting with them, and it was 15 minutes of just me and the head guys, and I thought it went really well. And then I told my agent that, and he was like, "Yeah, they're really high on you." And then after that, not really much contact with them, and then just happy to get that call on draft day.
Who were you relying on for any sort of help or insight, support, just to get through this period of time?
Mainly my dad and Coach Fitzgerald. Coach Fitz has been there, from the beginning with any information or just context that I needed. He always put me in position, to be successful. And my dad has been, the driving force since day one. When I was first stepped on the football field, always there for me.
Not to look too far into the future, but if you do have the opportunity to play against Trevor Siemian, what will that be like?
It'll be a great experience. I already texted him. He told me to take it easy on him. I won't be able to do that, but no, I love Trevor. We've been friends since I stepped on campus. Really took me under his wing. A guy from Florida, so definitely have that close relationship with him. He's been helping me out throughout the whole entire draft process, so it'll be fun to play against him.
Were you in touch with them at all throughout the weekend?
Oh, definitely. I called Fadi as soon as he got drafted. He was actually at dinner with his parents, and he was so excited. To see those guys and all their hard work pay off just like mine. We trained together throughout the whole process. And, to see those guys get their name called or draft or get the phone call after, it's just a blessing.
Many seasons ago, your redshirt season, did you ever really see yourself saying exactly what you just said to me right now, saying that you're ready to play for the NFL? Did you think you would have had that opportunity?
My redshirt year, actually, no. I'm being completely honest. I was like, this is going to be a long 5 years. Redshirting, I had never, not been like, a key guy on my team. So to come in and not be that guy, it was, very weird for me. When it was our turn to get on the field, you know, we wanted to go out and make plays, and you know, Godwin Igwebuike, his first start, he had 3 interceptions. You know, my first start, I had a pick 6 and all that stuff. So, you know, we just wanted to leave our legacy. You know, is what we talk about all the time, and I think we were able to do that. But you know, my redshirt year, it was definitely up. It was a lot of ups and downs. You know, just from homesick to just want to be out on the field and play.
Anthony, it's been an absolute honor just getting to watch you on the field, and we really look forward to seeing how you end up going forward here. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Go Cats.
And coming up, Evanston volunteers are flocking to protect our feathered friends.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
While Northwestern's Mayfest prepares for Dillo Day, Evanston enjoyed another type of Mayfest, a Mayfest for our birds. I sat down with some volunteers who are working hard to protect our feathery friends. When Kathleen Cordash went for a jog along the lakefront in October, she stopped to help a few volunteers, but she said she never imagined it would have such an impact.
The area where the bird sanctuary is a very important spot for bird migration. So that was a very important space to preserve and protect.
With over 250 species migrating through the Evanston area every year, protecting Evanston's natural habitat is becoming a growing priority. The city of Evanston hosted Mayfest for Our Birds this weekend to spark a dialogue on how to make Evanston's great outdoors great for local birds. Cordash's volunteer group, the Evanston North Shore Bird Club, was one of several groups asking residents to get involved. Hosted at the Evanston Ecology Center, the Feathery Fest began with interactive talks on local species, neighbors swapping birdwatching strategies, and a bilingual bird walk through the park. And according to bird specialist Judy Pollock, the event was also a celebration of what's to come. The city plans to create a bird habitat along the North Shore Channel, and the National Fish and Wildlife Fund awarded Evanston $100,000 for the project. While many locals are getting involved, birdwatcher Allison Sloan says it's time for Northwestern to get their ducks in a row.
A lot of birds die every year in Evanston just from crashing into the windows that reflect their habitat. There are a number of buildings on the Northwestern campus that, because of their reflective nature, attract a very high number of collisions.
The good news? It's preventable with a different kind of glass.
This is used in the visitor center on the top floors, and it's just a different kind of glass that it does not have a reflective coating, so it's a clear surface.
By providing tangible solutions, the Mayfest helps spread the word on how to help an increasingly vulnerable bird population.
That's all the time we have for tonight. I'm Alex Letterman.
I'm Jenny Haskell from Sports.
And I'm Anika Henniger. Thanks for joining us.